Please welcome back Lindsay Holladay Van Damme and
Thank you,
Ian
man.
Klein.
Good thing.
You guys can both have a seat. Thank you to both of you for sharing. One of the reasons we brought these people together in this little segment was because one of them was from the desert, far, far away. Another one is deep in the ocean, but they both shared this commonality of bringing their personal experiences and professional experiences to people and make that really relatable every day. So on that note, I wanted to ask, both of you have very worldly experiences, Lindsay, both in your career and outside of your career and your personal life, just by how you were raised, and you can talk more about that if you like. And then you, of course, from the U.S. military. So I wondered how that experience parlays into what you both do now.
Well, I mean, ever since second grade, I love to make stories, right? I used to make my own little video games and things like that. And my parents, they always said the exact same thing. You can be whatever you want to be when you grow up, and I wanted to make amazing experiences. So as I progressed in my childhood, in high school, I had the opportunity to join a junior ROTC program that taught me leadership skills and gave me the opportunity to be more than what I just was. And that led me down the path into the Army. But I always loved the original stuff, storytelling. And when I was in the Army, I was able to teach people and see that shining light in their eyes that when they were having fun while learning, and they were learning while having fun, I wanted to go back and do that again. And it's all because my parents believed in me and they told me I could do anything. And that's why I'm here today.
I think some of the experience you're alluding to is the fact that I was raised overseas. My parents moved to Eastern Europe right at the end of the Soviet Union. They felt called to missions, and so they spent a couple years as missionaries, and then they were artists, so that really wasn't for them. But ultimately, I think my folks should have been born in a different century. They should have either been pioneers about 200 years ago, or they should be colonizing a new planet in about 200 years. So they're kind of in this weird in-between space and instilled kind of just this sense of adventure and go-get-'em attitude for me. I did not grow up near an ocean, but to me, right now, in our current situation on this planet, that is one of the last unexplored frontiers, and there's a lot out there that people don't understand, people we haven't even seen or mapped yet. So it's kind of that natural fit for me of kind of what's next and getting to communicate that to people, definitely from my upbringing.
Daniel, you have a staff with a background in mental health. Why is that important for the experiences you create?
It's all about people. My wife, she's she's a doctor and a mental health counselor. But in every industry, we deal with people, and people are weird, man. They're like weird. So you got to understand how they work and how they think. And when we started our show, right? People were like, "Whoa, I don't know what just happened, but I like it," right? And we realized we had to do a debriefing afterwards. We're like, "Hey, man, this is what just happened, and this is why you feel the way you do," right? Because people are so pumped up on adrenaline and adventure and stuff like that. So we were able to take it back with a debrief and tell them, "Hey, this is what happened, and this is why you're feeling that way, and it's okay to be awesome, right? It's okay to think that way." And it goes back to having that, being grounded. My wife understands people, I understand people. So with those two techniques, we were able to use it to our advantage.
I think I need a debrief after just watching
Oh,
that
yeah.
preview.
I'm freaking out.
So you work with your wife. Lindsay, how do you guys create teams effectively, whether it's research that you've done where you're traveling or simply at the aquarium putting on these edutainment things for people?
Yeah, we create teams in a couple ways, and actually I'll focus more on our kind of technical diving team at the Seattle Aquarium, since we use a unified team diving model that is very, I don't want to say military, but it is based on technical cave diving. And the idea is that you need to trust each other so innately that you can kind of, you understand all of their gear, you understand all of their emergency procedures to the point that you could do it for them And then with redundant safety systems, we all feel that typically in teams of 3, any one of us could manage the dive alone while also rescuing 2 other people. So that involves a lot of training. It involves a lot of trust, debriefing, talking, communication. But ultimately, the idea is that we can go out. The icing on the cake is the talking to people and introducing new animals, but all the pre-work ahead of time is making sure that it's done in a safe way, it's done in a way that isn't going to create issues for us later on, because the ocean, as wonderful and amazing and beautiful as it is a real place, and it demands our respect.
And with Ready, do you find that the de facto teams that are experiencing what you've put together, do you learn from their interactions playing through the experience?
Oh man, I learned so much. It was so much fun to watch people go through this because some people came in looking tough and were just like really scared and things like that. But what we saw is people who never met each other before that were doing the experience together, they left as a team. The ones that were most successful talked to each other and learned from each other. They shared information. And that was really the whole point of the show, is that during this experience, this apocalyptic adventure, you have to survive, but everyone has to survive, right? So if you chose to not save that guy in the end, your ending was gonna be worse than it was if you helped him. And people build camaraderie in that short space. People learn from each other. And that's what everyone can do. It doesn't have to be the zombie apocalypse. It could be anything. Kids learning about pirate ships, learning about the aquarium, preteens learning about scouting skills. You can use the same technique of experiential learning to teach them while having fun and have fun while teaching. So I really recommend it for everybody.
That very much leads into my next question, which is this idea of edutainment, which I think sometimes gets a bad rap because I think people think that it cheapens one or the other. It's not education, it's not entertainment, it's just this kind of thing that we say because it makes us feel better about entertainment, for example. What is both of your perspectives on that subject?
Well, I put it in my title, so
Yeah.
I guess I should say. Daniel asked me this question kind of yesterday. Do you like the word edutainment? And my gut reaction is no. So I had to lean into that a little bit and think about that. With our background at the aquarium, edutainment is maybe seen as a little bit of a slur because it's kind of contaminating pure education with entertainment. On the other side, I'm imagining there's a wide diversity of perspectives when you hear that word, and I didn't mean for it to be kind of like triggering, but it is an interesting word, and I think words in general just fascinate me. I used it because I was hoping to kind of build bridges across, maybe somebody could feel a piece of it, whether you lean more toward the education side of your communication and programming, or whether you lean more toward the entertainment side. I think words should be unifying, and obviously there are regional differences, there are international differences in how we perceive words, but I think edutainment could be reclaimed as a very positive word. The more and more we're kind of leaning into these experiences, especially in zoos and aquariums, where we do want to maintain a high level of enjoyment and entertainment, and there's some very high standards from a lot of your industries and your fields, so we're not just going to sit there and lecture folks in the pure education side.
And people really need to engage with the material. Everybody learns differently, whether they're listening, reading, or they're kinesthetic learners. You as an experienced designer needs to activate those people and their different learning skills and make it fun, because people learn more when they're having fun. And military training, sometimes it sucks, man. You haven't slept in 4 days, you don't have any food, it's 99 degrees and 99% humidity. But afterwards, when we reflect on it and we get through that process, we look back on it very fondly. And it's something that we always cherish, and we build that bond together. So most of our training isn't considered fun when we're first doing it, but when we look back on it, we're like, yeah, I really did have fun, and I learned something. So I would recommend everybody put something in their attractions that teach people, put something that makes them have fun, because otherwise we're just looking at a wall.
Sure. Last question. how do you keep people continuing to learn and doing by learning beyond just a 20-minute dive session or 75-minute training seminar?
So, I think if they have agency, in their learning, if they could, our show was kind of unique because it was one of the only places where you can go, do it, and then do it again. It was like a video game. You hit reset, and you get to play the same game over again. And anyone who's played video games, you learned while playing the video game the first time. So the next time you do it, you have a different set of skills. So I recommend people do that. Don't just make it a one-shot deal. Make them a basically touch experience where people can come back and do it again and engage with it. And they will engage with it if they learn something. They'll engage with it if they had fun.
It's a great question. I don't know that I have any specific answers, but I know that my team right now, really, in thinking about this issue of wanting to keep people engaged beyond just the 10 or 15 minutes that they're in front of our show, is to kind of leave them with a really salient question that we're not necessarily giving the answers to right away. So that might be something like, how are you already in your own life reducing your use of single-use plastics? Or how are you in your own life already supporting our efforts of conserving endangered species like our local sea otters or whatever animals live near you in your region? So kind of leaving them with those salient questions and hoping that it's embedding a seed of something that will continue to grow.
Thank you both so much for your time and sharing with us.